Hi mate, how you doing?
Oh, take you off mute. There we go. Good.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. I've decided that I think the best way to sort of get into it is to talk about your 2 weeks of recovery after the travel, the race, because I think you've been quite tired and fatigued, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you're always tired after an Ironman, aren't you? But
yeah, but with the
going
travel,
in the travel, it's weird because I don't know, but
yeah,
the first few days, I'm fine.
yeah,
And you kind of think, I don't know if that put me in like a full sense of security. I just sort of, I obviously didn't crack on and start doing any massive bike sessions or run sessions, but did a couple of easy runs, like 40 minutes and an hour, and just felt knackered.
yeah,
Even on the runs, and obviously the heart rate is going to be up anyway from the travel and what the body's just been through in Kona. So that was expected, I guess, but just felt knackered. And then since then, I've sort of taken the approach of sleeping as much as I can.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not somebody who tends to sleep more than 7 hours, 7.5 hours. Um,
yeah.
but this last 5 days, it's been over 9 hours. Um, and that's
That's
with the alarm clock going off as late as possible to make it into work on time. So
yeah, yeah.
obviously shows the body's just it's recovering, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, massively. I mean, like you said, you get proper wiped out after an Ironman anyway, racing over that duration. But with the travel added in, that's another massive aspect of what's going to fatigue you. Like
Yeah,
traveling wipes you out all the time.
the travel was weird because we left Sunday night and didn't get back here till Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
With the obviously the length of the travel plus the adding the 11 hours back on to fly east.
yeah,
But, yeah, it was an experience.
yeah, for sure. And you got your bike arrived fine. You didn't have any issues with bike arriving.
Yeah, it got back okay. Getting there was a different matter, but
Yeah, did it not turn up straight away?
no, it didn't get into Kona straight away. It got to San Francisco okay, and then didn't go from there through to Kona. I got an air tag in the saddlebag so I could keep a track of it. I was on there every 5 minutes having a look, and you could just see it sitting in the arrivals hall. Thinking, it's not moving. It's not moving. I'm on the plane. It's the bike's over there. It's still not on.
You're
And
just slowly taking off, and you can just see that your bike is not coming with you.
I'd accepted that at that point that bike's not going to make it. But to be fair, United Airlines that I flew with have got like a bag tracking thing. They obviously scan the barcode as it goes through the various points of the airport, and you can see when it obviously arrived in San Francisco, and they'd scanned the suitcase to say it had been loaded onto the plane, and the bike was still not scanned.
Right.
When I got to Kona, the bike had been scanned as missed flight, and then it had been booked onto pretty much the next flight that was going out, which is like the following morning.
Yeah.
Next day, it was into Kona, and the next morning, so I just drove down the airport, went to the arrival, because the arrivals belt is next to the car park, because the airport's all open.
Yeah.
So you just park up and you just walk up to the belt and just tip my bike and went, oh, it's
you could have picked up any old bike in the end then.
yeah, I could have done. I could have got a nice upgrade.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think you
Yeah.
got it pretty easy there. I know some people were waiting a few days, stressing for their bikes to arrive.
Well, that's the thing. I think we said beforehand, haven't we, that was probably the main worry going into that race week, that the bike wouldn't get there, purely just for the numbers of people that had going.
Yeah,
I think there's usually 2,500 people, and this time there was 5,000 people all taking bikes.
yeah,
Maybe family members to take the odd bike as well. So you're probably looking at over 5,500 bike boxes going to a little tiny island in the Pacific.
Yeah,
Something can't go wrong somewhere, isn't it? So,
yeah, absolutely. It'd be amazing if everything for everyone went incredibly smoothly, but that's not travel, and it wouldn't be a race without a wee bit of a dilemma.
no,
And
and it's kind of one of the things that I prepared for ahead of time. Obviously, by trying to mitigate it by I flew direct from San Francisco into Kona rather than going to Honolulu and take one of the smaller inter-island flights. That took some of the risk out of it. And putting the AirTag in, just give a bit of reassurance I knew where the bike was if it did go missing.
yeah,
I mean, in hindsight, that probably had a bit more stress because I could just keep an eye on the bike as it was moving around or not moving around. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things you plan ahead and then it takes some of the worry out of it. Well, going to Kona without your bike was a bit of it could have been a bit of a disaster.
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal. You could have ended up doing the race on a bike with fat tires or something like that instead.
Funny that because I was watching the women's race on the Wednesday or the other race on the Wednesday, and there was somebody riding a mountain bike or a hybrid with fat tires on it,
Yeah,
doing Kona on it.
yeah.
That bike, the resistance of those tires on the road must have been.
It's
It would have been something.
not the normal place to test out fat tires, but yeah, pretty cool at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I was doing it on a road bike, so it kind of put me at ease because I've always been a bit conscious of I'm on a road bike here in Kona and thinking that it's not really a done deal, and just seeing somebody doing something else, somebody doing something different, kind of, puts you at ease a bit. And
Yeah,
there were others on road bikes as well. I mean, bike's a bike at the end of the day. So.
yeah. And so, how was the overall Kona experience for you? Was it like in the town? Could you feel the energy from when you got off the plane, or did you manage to sort of avoid all the buzz by being a bit out of the town?
Yeah, so I've done big races before and stayed in the hub of things, and it just, to me, it always adds a bit more pressure and a bit more hype to it, and makes it harder to sort of relax into the whole experience. So I knew Kona was going to go. It's another level, isn't it? I'm staying in Kona town. It must have been buzzing all week. I made the decision to stay sort of half an hour north of Kona, and I sort of wanted just to treat it as a bit of a holiday for the few days beforehand. So I got on the Monday and raced on a Saturday, so 5 days just to try and chill out a bit and just to relax and get ready for the race that way, and not have the pressure of Ironman just always there. So obviously quite a few other triathletes doing a similar sort of thing, staying up there. So there's still that. You're still aware of it going on, and I had to travel into town to do registration and the bike drop, etc. So when I went into town, you could certainly feel it there. I mean, Kona, just driving into Kona, I was just getting goosebumps after all those years of watching YouTube videos of like the Kona, like the swim store, and then you drive into town and you can see the white church chapel, which is always in the background of a swim. And then when you go into registration, you see the pier with all the transition area, and I just give it goosebumps, and it's kind of makes the dream feel a bit more real.
Yeah.
It kind of sank in a bit then. Certainly on the Friday when I was racking, going into the transition and walking around there, that was great. That's kind of what I've been aiming for the last 5 years. For that moment, just to get there, and then being there was something special.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you manage to fanboy anyone at all, or did you
I didn't
meet anyone that you wanted to meet?
No, I didn't see anybody. Which is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit mixed on that really. A bit gutted I didn't get to see something like Jan or Lionel at breakfast with Bob. But I kind of made the decision to sort of keep away from that. But would have been cool just to. I know some of the Total Try guys were down there every day, weren't they, watching it?
Yeah.
And getting pictures of everybody. You'd get popping up with WhatsApp of all these people who were meeting. Oh, damn, wish I'd gone now.
Yeah, you get a bit of FOMO, but then also you made the decision to stay out of the town so that you could actually relax.
Yeah, I was going to say these pictures were popping up of people with like meeting the other triathletes. I was just sat by the pool at the hotel. So.
Yeah.
Or out on a day trip around the island.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So how was the island? What did you make of it?
Oh, the island was stunning. It's just compared to what we get here. I mean, I did a day trip. Well, we basically did a circle of the whole island. And pretty much every half an hour you're driving around, and it's just a different climate, or the terrain's just completely different. I mean, you get from lava fields in 1 minute, and then you're in a rainforest. You're on the east of the west side, which is always sunny where Kona is, and you've got the east side of the island, which is like a tropical rainforest. And it was about 10 degrees cool. It was pouring down the rain, and you just go across the north of the island, and then it just suddenly changes again. You're back on the west. It's just like you're in a different country.
Yeah, nice.
And just being able just to stand on top of a volcano 1 minute and just see like the lava bubbling away and the springs going off, and then you come down into Harvey, and then you're in like a rainforest, and there's like 400-foot waterfalls into the trees, and a bit like you see on Jurassic Park at the intro. And you got like the big valleys. And it's stunning. It's spectacular. It's the scenery, and even the lava fields, which is like you basically just stand there roasting in this black abyss. It's just something you just don't get here at all, isn't it?
I mean,
completely different.
It's almost hard to sort of picture it, but I guess the Jurassic Park, that's probably the best sort of picture that most people can get for.
Yeah, there's two things that came to mind when I was there. There's obviously Jurassic Park at the intro where they're flying on the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then there's the TV series Lost, which is obviously filmed in Hawaii anyway, but it just looked like it's just that. It just brought a bit of memories back of that. And then the tour guides telling us like they've got like wild boar that live out there. I just had pictures of John Locke coming out with his knife with a boar over his shoulder from Lost.
So you were out of the town a wee bit, but you managed to catch a bit of the women's race on the Thursday. What was it like watching other people racing the course that you knew you were going to be tackling in a couple of days?
Yeah, that was weird. Because we were half an hour's drive from there, so I think it's about 35 miles out on the bike course, and we're seeing people, because by the time I got out there, the pros had already gone past. So we're sort of mid to back of the age group pack we're watching coming through, and just seeing them struggling on the bike. And you could see it on the face that they've had to work a bit just to get to this point. And I was thinking, we're only 35 miles in. And you can see them sweating and they're like slogging away on the bike. It was a slight upgrading where we were, but you could see them working. I was thinking, this is going to be tough, this is.
Yeah.
But I mean, just standing there and watching the Ironman World Championships is just, it's kind of one of them bucket list things as well, isn't it? I kind of got to tick both off, luckily. I could watch a women's race and then do the race myself a few days later.
Yeah.
But that's when it sank in. Then it's going to be. I kind of knew it was going to be tough anyway. But seeing people over decent age groupers struggling, that's when it kind of sank in a bit. I mean, unfortunately for me, maybe not for the women, but I think they probably got the worst of the weather. I think when the men did it on the Saturday, it was slightly overcast in that sort of about half of the bike course. And it wasn't breezy at all. There's no wind at all. Right. And that course is it's famous for the winds coming down. And didn't really, unless I'm used to a lot more wind being around the northwest of England, but it didn't feel like much to me. I think we got off lucky on Saturday, which was a blessing.
Yeah, good. So how was the race for you? Let's start with a swim. Like how did you find the swim? Being non-wetsuit.
Yeah, the swims. I don't know. The swim was the thing I was looking for. Ironically, for me, like most people, swimming is the one discipline that I don't enjoy that much, or as much as the others. But for this one, the swim in Kona, it was the one I was looking forward to the most, because it's always, you watch any videos of Kona, you see the sea swim, don't you, with the cameraman underneath and the turtle swimming past and everybody swimming over the top.
Yeah,
that kind of view. And yeah, I was just loving getting into that water, going to the water. And even when I got in, even being non-wetsuit, I wasn't that fussed about it, to be honest. Although I've not really swum much without the wetsuit. But doing it out there, it was like getting in the bath. The water was that warm.
Yeah.
And yeah, the swim was stunning. You're just swimming along. You're obviously looking down. You got like coral underneath here and little clownfish swimming past, and the scenery was great. I got absolutely battered at the start. Being a mass age group start, everybody was just even lingering towards the back at the start. It was just it's like a Royal Rumble. It's complete carnage. But,
yeah, that's the beauty of a mass start, isn't it? Just complete mayhem to begin with.
Well, whereabouts for it, yeah, it was.
Did you position yourself to get sort of stuck in, or did you stay out?
I knew my swim's probably not going to be anywhere near top half of that age group, so I kind of positioned myself towards the back anyway. Although I did position myself on the inside line to take the shortest route, which probably not the best idea. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like I say, it's one of them things into the mass start. You're going to get punched, you're going to get kicked, but then you give out as much, you give as good as you get, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. If you give a couple of wee kicks in yourself here and there.
No, there's one thing that was annoying me. All through probably 3 courses of the swim, there was just a guy just on his right, obviously drafting off me, which is probably a mistake from his point, picking the slowest guy in the field. But I pretty much towed him around the first 3 quarters. But every minute, you just felt his hands just touching my feet. He kept winding me up. And
yeah,
I even started zigzagging around just to see if I could get rid of him. But he was just there. It's that annoying. Even going, I even nicknamed him the tickler because he kept tickling my feet, which kind of made a bit of light to the situation for me. But it's just, I don't know, it's just something I could have done without. You know, you've got like a full, for me, 12-hour day ahead of me, and then got this guy touching my feet every couple of minutes.
That's it. Put in a couple of wee kicks just to scare him up.
I did try. I didn't try slowing. I thought about slowing down, letting him pass, but I was like, well, why should I slow down and hinder my time just to try and get rid of this guy?
Yeah. It's a frustrating one, but that's the beauty of the swim, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's part of the race. In the end, he did come past me. I ended up following, drafting off him anyway. So you get as good as you get.
Yeah, that's it. And then you just tickle his feet a wee bit more as well.
Obviously, he was nice and fresh towards the end, so he'd come past me from drafting me for so long. Well, I'll take a toe off him for a bit into the finish. And to be fair, my swim time, I was 4 minutes off my PB.
Yeah.
So non-wetsuit, I don't think it massively hindered me. I was expecting 5 to 10 minutes slower. And the swim PB I've got was on an Aussie exit, which was, I think, 400 metres of that was sort of running on land.
Okay.
It's always going to be a bit quicker than a normal, like a straight out and a back swim.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pleased with that, to be fair.
Yeah, so starting the race off well with a good swim, and then getting into transition and out on the bike. How did the bike go?
The bike, I was expecting it to be a tough day. Being on a road bike, I did have aero bars on, but it's just not, you're not it's just not the same as being on a TT bike, and in that scenario on such a flat, well, I felt it was flat anyway, course,
Yeah,
and just one long straight drag out pretty much and turn around and come back. It's built for time trialing on
absolutely.
a road bike, and so there's a bit of extra drag in there, but yeah, I think it went okay. I wasn't too far off my bike PB from where I did in Roth.
Yeah,
I've done Bolton twice and then Challenge Roth. So comparing Bolton to Roth and Kona is like it's like comparing a mountain to a flat race. To be fair.
Yeah, it's a bit different. But
Yeah.
how did you find the bike course? Did you find it busy with all the athletes? Did you find yourself?
To be fair, I think for me, most of the athletes, by the time I got on the bike, most of my age group were ahead of me from the swim, and there was the waves behind were just coming through, but quite a lot of people were going past me on the bike, which normally would annoy me, and I'd end up trying to push harder to keep up with them. But I was trying to not focus on other people, just focus on my race.
Yeah.
Stick to my I wanted to go the first 60 miles at sort of fairly easy pace, and then try and push it a bit on the way back out, on the way back into town. So as people were going past me in that first half, it's always in the back of my mind thinking, so many people coming past me, there must be nobody to be behind. And then just when I turned around at the top of the island and come back down, you could see people behind me, which sort of give me a little mental boost that, I'm not lost.
Yeah.
Even though there's probably like a couple hundred people behind me. But yeah, it's good. The heat, that's when the heat hit.
Yeah.
As soon as I got on the bike, obviously, I always find I sweat more when I'm just getting out of the water anyway and getting onto like a hard bike. So that first 5-10 miles of riding through the town, I was dripping with sweat then, but just trying to focus on hydration mainly. I got 2 bottles with me from transition, drink them, and then just grab as much as I can from the aid stations, which I think that went well. I pretty much stuck to plan on that, and the bike fueling, gels, and the solid fuel that I'd taken with me, stuck on plan for that pretty much for the whole bike. Other races I've kind of suffered from sticking for the plan for about half the race and then just tailing off as you sort of your fatigue and your mind wanders and you sort of lose track on when you just I try and take it every 20 minutes or use a time rather than the distance for fueling. And I find in the past that as your mind fatigues, you forget and you just lose focus on your nutrition and hydration. So I think I stuck to it pretty well on that, and it kind of went to plan. And to only be 10 minutes off a bike PB, I was pretty pleased at that.
Yeah, good. Did you find that the heat was just getting to you a bit much, or was it not so bad at that point?
It wasn't too bad. I think the first quarter of the bike was hot and sunny. And then, as I said before, as we got into sort of 40 miles in and you're going up to north of the island, it clouded over.
Yeah.
So we had that sort of, we're in like the shade really. So it wasn't too bad. It was warm and humid, but it wasn't like, you didn't have the heat blaring down on you. And then as you come back down again, the last third of the bike, you got back into the sun again. It just felt somebody just cranked the heat up because you could just feel it. As soon as you went from the cloud into the sun, obviously it warms up anyway, but it's just like we're going into the oven. It was a very humid oven at that. It was hot. So I was tipping like bottles of water on my head and down my back to keep me cool, which was good. But then I found that it ended up washing the lube off the chain. I tipped that much off, so I could hear my chain going grinding as I was pedaling along. Oh, got my bike sounds a right wreck.
That would be the sort of thing that would drive me mad. Is just having a little noise, any sort of ticking on the bike, just drives me
Just
mad.
messes with your mindset, doesn't it? And puts you out
Yeah,
of that focus. I kind of, I mean, normally I probably think, oh, my the chain's going to snap or the gears are going to jam or something. But that's kind of like, as long as it gets me to T2, I don't care what state the bike's in. As long as I've got to T2 and Kona, the bike can be a wreck. I don't want to just waste a couple of grand on the bike, but it's kind of, as long as it just gets me to there, I'll be happy.
yeah,
It did do, which was good.
yeah. It got you into T2 and then heading out onto the run. How did you find the run?
Yeah, the run was tough. That was tough going. Obviously, I was tired and fatigued from the swim and the bike, and then the run. I went into it thinking, in the past, I kind of I thought I can go out at kind of about a minute off half a normal marathon pace per mile. But I went into this and I knew it was going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be tough. So I was just going to go out at easy pace and just do an easy marathon in Kona. Yeah. It went well. I'd probably say the first half marathon, pretty much on target of that. I was aiming for about 8:30 to 9 minutes per mile, just to take it easy. And heart rate was down in the 120s. Low 120s. I looked on Smash Run afterwards, and Kona is my lowest ever heart rate for an activity.
Oh, really?
So
that's an interesting bit of data there, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that kind of suggests how much walking I did in the second half.
Yeah, there is that.
But yeah, the first half mile, the first 13 miles, it was pretty good. There's a hill as you come out of the town before you go onto the Queen K Highway, and that felt like a mountain. I was looking forward to coming back down it at the finish, but I come down at the finish. I thought, is that it?
Yeah.
That's what I struggled on so much to get up earlier. But yeah, it was tough going up there, but the heat and the sun, because we were in the full sun at that point as well, so I was ducking in, find as much shade as I can in the town as you're going down Leahy Drive under the trees.
Yeah.
You have to get some shade there. And people hose pipes blasting you, which it's a blessing that it cools you down, but then you get soggy feet as well, which was something I've experienced in I think it was at Staffs actually. People spraying with hose pipes and my feet were just battered from being so wet.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to dodge the hose pipes and just go with cups and just lean forward and tip a cup over my head rather than down the body to keep the feet dry.
Yeah.
But then when you go on the Queen K, it's just like rolling hills, and they're not steep, but they're long, mm-hmm. And because the road's that straight, and you can just see for miles in front of it, and you can see like the aid station. It's way off in the distance. There's only like 1.4 miles between the aid stations. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of them, but it just felt like you're running through a desert at that point.
Yeah,
your mouth was that dry. And
yeah, how did you find the support on the run? Was there a good crowd out, or?
It was mixed. In town, it was amazing. There's people everywhere cheering you, shouting you on, and just gives you such a boost. But then when you get out to Queen K, because you're out in the lava fields at that point, there's just nobody there.
Yeah.
So the only support you get is like for going through the aid stations. The volunteers were amazing. They give you a massive boost as you go through. But yeah, that's when it gets tough mentally, because you're in a full heat. The lava fields radiating the heat back out at you, and you're just on your own, just your feet stomping along.
Yeah. Even though you're sharing the course with a couple of thousand athletes,
you feel so alone.
You just feel like you're the only one there when it gets to that sort of point. It's a hard graft at that point of the race.
It is. It is, because when you're struggling as well, and you start to think, oh, I need to stop, I need to walk for a bit, but then you see everybody else is still running. You think, oh, should I stop or not? I don't want to be the only one walking. So it kind of helps you a bit that way. But then, it's just tough when there's just you out there.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
but then coming back into town must be the most amazing experience coming back in.
Yeah, it was, because I think from about mile 23 to 25, I kind of broke mentally at that point. It was just going dark, so I was out there in the dark pretty much.
Yeah.
And there's no street lights, so you're just bundling around in the dark on the side of this highway. In the middle of nowhere. You can hear people stomping around or people walking around, but I pretty much walked from mile 23 to 25. I did I tried to run a little bit halfway through mile 23, I think it was, but the body just given up on me at that point. But then as you're coming into town, I was looking at the watch thinking, 1.2 miles to go, so 2K to go now, thinking. And I think I could walk that in about 20 minutes. And
yeah.
I was fully prepared just to walk straight in and just run down the finish chute. But there's like an unofficial aid station, which is like at the top of one of the hills, like a Red Bull energy zone sort of thing. When he got like some tunes going, there's a bunch of German guys, and this German guy come up to me, put his arm around my shoulder, and he's like, "Come on, you can do it! Keep running." It's like 2K to go. I was like, I can't run, I can't do it. He's like, just run to that corner, it's downhill. And it's pretty much pushing me at this point. So I started to run then, and thinking I'm just going to collapse at this point. But ran to the corner, ran down the hill, and it's probably my fastest split from there to the finish. It's just him giving me that push.
Yeah.
It just highlights sort of, you get that in other races, but it's just the experience. But then as you're getting into town, there's more and more people on the side of the road again, which gives you more of a boost. Just keep going. And when you just turn and go down the finish chute, which felt never ending, but when I was flying down there, it was just, that's the ultimate high of running down the red carpet in an Ironman is an experience which always lives with you, and you always remember that from the race. The pain from like the 10, 12 hours before that, you forget it just for that.
Yeah.
It's all forgotten for that like 5 seconds you run down the red carpet. But yeah, that was special, running down the black carpet in Kona. It was.
Yeah, it is.
It was amazing. And just hearing Mike Riley shout, "Mark Hatton, bring it home, man! Come on, you can do it!" And then you cross the line and you hear him shout, "You are an Ironman." It's like, that's what I come for.
That's what it's about at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how hard you've had to fight or how easy you might have found aspects of it, but it's just getting to that finish line at the end of the day. That's why we do it.
Yeah, before the race, I didn't set any goals. But the goal I wanted was just to finish and just get that medal, finish that journey, going from in 5 years, going from starting at a go try in Biddle to the Ironman World Championships was, that was the goal. Just finish that journey off. So
yeah,
did it.
Yeah. So what was the absolute high of the event or of the week? Like, it doesn't even have to be from the race, but what?
Oh, well, the absolute high is crossing that finish line.
Crossing the line, yeah.
That's what you're there for, isn't it? But over highs, the swim is that's always going to live with me. Just being on the island and just the history of it all, and being there is one thing, but getting there is part of the journey as well, and the high of just being able to register for Kona.
I guess
something's pretty special.
That high starts when you get your qualifying spot, doesn't it? That's the high, and then it's just one big epic journey from that qualifying spot right up until you cross the line.
Yeah, epic certainly was. It was 2 years to get from them qualifying to that finish line.
Yeah, it's been dragged out this time round, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool.
So, taking into everything that you've experienced over the last 3 weeks, getting into Kona, and then your 2 weeks sort of recovery, what would you say to anyone that's looking to qualify and gets into Kona next time round, or in a few years, whatever? What would be your one big tip for people looking to qualify and when they get there?
Oh, the big tip's probably the big known, really, the heat. You gotta try and do as much preparation as you can for that heat. I mean, it's easier said than done training in England.
Yeah.
Even this summer when we were 40 degrees, don't we, over here? But that's it's a different kind of heat than Kona heat. I mean, saying Kona's hot, I mean, it was only 28 degrees on race day, so it's not, we don't regularly go over 28 degrees here, but most summers you get in the 30s in England, but you factor in the 90% humidity.
Yeah.
It's sapping. So if you can do as much sort of training on the bike, I guess, in the heat, and then running, it's tough to run in that sort of heat, but you gotta do as much acclimatization as you can before you get out there, and then just do some training runs, simple runs out there.
Yeah.
Again, in the heat, anything you can do just to get used to that heat is easier said than done. But.
Yeah, much easier said than done. But yeah, get prepared for the heat, and then that's I guess that probably is, for most people coming from the UK, that's probably the biggest factor, is looking at the heat.
I know in training you give me some suggestions on things we could do just to try and adapt to just general warm conditions of, so like if you got a sauna, go in a sauna or a steam ring for the humidity and the heat, or even just do a run session like you said, and then have a hot bath afterwards just to keep the core temperature up. Just little things like that. I think they are benefited from those.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the same as going out for doing a 5-6 hour bike session in 40-degree heat. But then, I don't know, do you want to put yourself through that? And
it's a traumatic experience, no matter where. If it's that hot, there's getting your body to be ready for that is just difficult. And your recovery process, even if you're prepared for it, your recovery process after training in severe temperatures is never going to be easy. It's never going to be conducive to your training. So yeah, it's a really tough aspect to manage. But I think, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The getting to Kona is the ultimate bucket list race for most triathletes. But you got another bucket list race done this year already with Challenge Roth.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a season for you, hasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a long awaited season. Obviously Challenge Roth was on the schedule for 2020.
Yeah.
Like most things. It got cancelled, and then Kona would have been on 2021. So it just all condensed into one epic year, I guess. Because I mean, I've got those two. I did Ironman 70.3 Mallorca as well, which is a bit closer to home and a bit more accessible, but even that was an experience. And then in 2 weeks' time, I've got the New York Marathon as well. Again, another hangover from 2020.
Yeah.
So it's just like bucket list race after bucket list race. It's the season you kind of dream of. Well, I don't know. It's not even the season I would have dreamt of, to be honest. It's above and beyond. But to do Roth and then Kona back to back is it's set the bar high.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be hard to replicate a season like this.
Yeah, that's kind of the dilemma I'm at now. As you know, how do you follow up Roth and how do you follow Kona? So I'm kind of I'm probably going to take next year off triathlon, I think, and just, I don't know, refocus on some other goals.
Yeah.
Not sure what the goals are yet, but it's that question of how do you follow up achieving your I mean, to get to Kona was always a dream that I kind of felt was out of reach. As most people, probably most age groupers are the same, aren't they? You want to get to Kona, but I'm not really that far. I'm never going to win the age group, and it's always it always feels distant. And then to go and do it, and only my second Ironman race was unexpected.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like thinking now, well, yeah, how'd you follow that up?
Yeah, it's a tough one to follow up, but I'm sure whatever you come up with for next season, you'll have some pretty good goals. I mean, you've got Boston Marathon to look forward to as well. You qualified for that earlier in the year at Paris, didn't you? So you've got another epic race.
Yeah. So I mean, when I started running and cycling 5 years ago, there was two, what you say, like lifetime goals. To qualify for Kona was one, and then to go and to qualify and race the Boston Marathon. At the time, I was probably an hour and 20 minutes off qualifying for Boston when I did the first marathon. So to go from that down to 15 minutes inside the qualifying time now, again, was kind of unexpected. But I'm just pretty much taking off two lifetime goal races.
Yeah.
Back to back, really. Kona and then Boston in April. It's going to be.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now?
Yeah, where'd you go after that? That is the question. It's a hard one, and refocusing after such massive achievements is always hard. But that's I
think for me, the running ones, I can focus more on a sort of a time goal for that. I think Ironman's never really been about the time. It's always been about the experience and getting across the finish line. Obviously, I want to do as quick as I can, but I've never sort of targeted like I want to go under 9 hours, I want to go under 10 hours, etc. Probably more so from the challenge of it all. It's hard to. There's a lot of unknowns you're going to throw up during an Ironman. During a marathon as well, but there's a lot more you can control in a marathon.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the next goal after I've done Boston, or even at Boston maybe, is to sort of try and push under 2 hours 50 minutes. That's kind of the next running goal. So I'm trying to line up going into Berlin.
Okay.
Next year, but we'll see.
Yeah, just having almost a wee bit of a break to reassess is sometimes what's needed. But you've been working with me since November last year. How have you found, because you came from completely self-coached and a few injuries, and that was your deciding factor to go and start working with myself and Total Try Training?
Yeah, so I'm probably a typical self-coached athlete that I've probably coached myself, well, maybe not typical actually, I think I've coached myself fairly well, as being as I managed to qualify for Kona from self-coaching.
Yeah.
But like every self-coach, well, most self-coached athletes probably did too much. And then I was always on that sort of focus of your TSS score, trying to get that higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then it get to a certain point, I'm really going flying now, and then I pick up a niggle, pick up an injury, and kind of in that cycle, I'd come back from the injury and get TSS score back up again and pick up another injury. So back end of last year, I got a stress fracture of the sacrum, which I didn't know at the time when I was doing the Bolton 70.3, but somehow I managed to do a 70.3 with a stress fracture in my back. It's just kind of an eye-opener on the run anyway. But that's kind of when I sort of focused on, if I kind of want to get a coach to sort of guide me and control what I'm doing more, and sort of give me that sort of balance between achieving your goal, but then not trying to do too much too soon or too much at the same time. And I think when we were when we first started working together, the focus initially was on on the run to get
Yeah.
the Paris Marathon in April. And I was looking at my stats earlier. With the 12 weeks leading into Paris, I was probably doing 15 to 20 miles a week less than what I would have done like 12 months ago, training myself for a marathon.
Yeah.
And I remember at a time thinking, am I doing enough training here? Am I doing enough mileage? And I was like, well, trust the process, trust Dave knows what he's on about. And this is the exact reason why I picked a coach to sort of, control what I'm doing. And then I'm in that exact moment now I'm thinking, am I doing enough? I'm not doing enough. So I was like, no, hold back, trust the coach and trust in the process. And then come Paris, I ran a PB, qualified for Boston, and crucially, all through that training period, no injuries or no niggles. And then, flash forward now, we're 12 months into that process. I've done 12 months of running at reduced mileage per week, yet I'm currently on track now to probably run the highest annual mileage I've ever done, doing less miles per week. So that kind of backs up the process of, little and often, I guess. Rather than doing big 60, 70-mile weeks, we're doing 40 or even some cases 30-mile weeks consistently. So you're building up mileage on top of mileage and no injuries, which is the big win for me. Obviously, there's the marathon PB, there's ROF, there's Kona, all massive goals and massive wins. But to do 12 months of running, specifically running for me, is where I've always picked the injuries up. But we've gone with your guidance and support, done 12 months injury free.
Yeah, it honestly makes me so happy to actually have got through a season without any more injuries, any more niggles. I mean, it's one thing ticking off big races like Kona, Roth.
Yeah.
But then to actually be able to do a full season without a single injury, for me, that's like my high right now. Is we've managed to go without an injury, and we've hit PBs, and we've set new targets, new goals, and you've improved across every single aspect. I think for anyone sort of thinking about coaching, it does show that it's a really good option, especially to help you manage things like time and injuries and navigate through injuries. But it's great to hear you say that the process has worked and it's been massively successful this year. That, yeah, it's always good to hear from athletes that it's working. But yeah, I think just wanted to say massive well done for getting the bucket list season under the belt, completing Kona, and yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you. So all the best for your future.
Yes, okay, cool.
Yeah, cheerio, bye.
See you later.